Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. We are back for another really good episode. Shout out to all of our viewers, our supporters, our subscribers that locked in that episode 396 where we were in person. A lot of good feedback on that one. The views are going up, keep going up. Check out the full episode if you have not seen it. Fellas, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
I'm doing better than Miles. He said he's tired. I'm doing better than him.
Late night episode for those that are unaware. That's when we record. It's a late night episode. We all got stuff going on. So this is how committed we are to the pod, that y'all get y'all content out. We be out while y'all sleep. We out here creating great content. Before we get into it, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, smash that like button. Let the algorithm know that this is great content. And we are here for a good time and a long time. So we're going to need your help for us to be here for a long time. Like, share, and subscribe. On this episode, we'll be touching on the Thibs firing, what the Knicks should do next. We'll also be talking about Cat, Mikal. Was the criticism fair? NBA Finals matchup. We're going to talk about that. Who has the most to win? Who has the most to lose? And, of course, throw a little football in there. As y'all know, if y'all don't, Saquon is the cover of Madden. We will talk about if Saquon can repeat the performance he had last year this season. But starting off with the most pertinent news, especially since we have a Knicks fan on the pod, and we kind of talked about it on the last episode. Again, if you ain't see it, go check out episode 396. We talked about Thibs and his lack of coaching adjustments, the fact that it took him, 94 games to actually start using the bench. Obviously, James Dolan, Leon Rose, they tuned into episode 396 and decided, hey, time to get that man a pink slip. He is out of here. By any chance, with Thibs being 226 and 174 in 5 seasons, back-to-back 51 seasons, and number 6 all-time in winner percentage in Knicks history, did the Knicks make the right move?
I think, yeah, they made the right move, especially when you look at we made it this far. But there were still a lot of questions when it came to the head coach. Even though you make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that doesn't guarantee you a pass until next year. This is not the first time he's dealt with possibly losing his job as the Knicks head coach. Happened a couple years ago when we first got Brunson, and then we started winning games. And winning usually hides deficiencies, but you can only go so far with that. So I think the time was right. I know Leon Rose and all the other higher ups definitely see this roster as a championship roster. And with the right coach, it is a championship roster. We got one of the best starting fives in the NBA. And yeah, Thibs is tough because he came and took the job when we were at a very low point where nobody wanted to take this job. It was basically he was available after losing the job in Minnesota, and he took the job. He's been on the staff before with the Knicks, so it's tough to see a guy like that lose his job like this because, Thibs, he's not a bad coach. That's the thing that we got to kind of get out of the way there is that, sure, he's got his, deficiencies, but he's not a bad coach. Everywhere he's gone, he's pretty much been able to turn that organization around. It's just they usually hit a peak where the team could possibly make another leap, and he's stuck in his ways. He plays his starters a lot, doesn't really use the bench as much as he should until his back is against the wall. He'll make changes when, his back's against the wall, but by then it's too late. Like in the Pacers series, it was too late to do all that and try to, experiment when that's what you have 82 games for, to kind of mess around with rotations and seeing what players work with who. Not in the Eastern Conference Finals, when at that point it's do or die. And it seemed abrupt because the season just ended a few days ago. But it just shows Leon Rose is trying to build a winner here. and sustained winning, and sees that maybe a new voice was needed in this locker room, one with more modern tactics. So I do think they made the right move. I'm just curious who's the next coach in line, because I mean, I'm hearing guys like Ime and Jason Kidd who aren't available, but I mean, you can always find a way to get a head coach somewhere else if they want to.
We definitely will be talking about who is the next coach and who do you think will be the best fit. But Alan Hahn said his sources told him that this was actually really player motivated. They had the end of the year meetings with the players, and outside of, I think we could say we weren't in the meetings, but outside of probably Jalen Brunson, doesn't seem like obviously the masses really were fans of Tib. Jalen Brunson, we know, end of the game, he said, "Are you serious? Tibbs is my guy." Mikal gave hints throughout the year, Cat, all of the sorts. So with that, report that it's player motivated. What's your thoughts on the Tibbs firing, Greg? And in the aspect of your star player, though, Brunson wanted him to be there, and they still decided, nah, we gotta give him the pink slip.
I mean, the writing was on the wall from the very beginning. I wish that Mikal wasn't so vocal about his displeasure with Tibbs, because Mikal sucked all year for the most part and did not live up to the billing of what they traded for to get him, with the traded for him to get. So I just, hearing it from him, it kind of falls on deaf ears, because it's like, yo, like, that your play was unacceptable, and when they needed you the most, your play was probably even worse. So it's ridiculous. But Jalen Brunson, the second he signed that deal for less money to help the team, they understood they had him. And what I mean by that is they understood they could do whatever they wanted, and regardless of how he felt for the most part, and get away with it. You know, he's a team first guy, and credit to him for that. He took less money so they could build the team they have around him right now. And some would argue this is why you don't take less. Just saying, because even when you do, they still screw it up, right? And you don't have all the necessary pieces to get the job done. And so there is that piece of it that's a real thing. It's a real conversation to be had. I mean, the Tibbs thing was always obvious, and the writing was always on the wall. And I've been on this podcast for God knows how long, saying in order to win a championship, and we're talking about in years past. We're not even talking about just this season. But I've been saying, in order for them to even think about a point where they could win a championship, they're going to have to fire him. Like, he's not. We've seen it already. He's been other places. He hasn't won. He's had great teams. He hasn't gotten the job done. He's never gotten over the hump. It's the same thing everywhere he goes. He runs his guys into the ground, and he's not a good offensive coach. And he's out there just kind of like letting them play offensively. He puts the ball in his best player's hands, and they just run pick and roll to the death of them. And then everybody else just stands out there and watches. There's no cuts. There's no off-ball screens. There's no split action. There's no nothing. They don't do anything. No flex cuts, nothing. So that's hard to watch. That's hard to watch as a basketball fan. And I'm sure as a Knicks fan, there's plenty of Knicks fans who didn't like Tibbs. I know plenty of them. Now Knicks fans are also at a place where, hey, this is the most successful season we had literally since I was born. If you're 25 years old, you have not seen a better season in your life. So for some of them, it's like, wow, we fired Tibbs. Like, what are we doing? Like, we can't do anything right. No, actually, guys, they did this right. This is the best decision they could have made if you're going to be serious about winning a championship. You have enough issues as it is with two defensive liabilities on your roster with Jalen Brunson and Cat, right? It's hard. And then Mikal being a minus all year. Hopefully he can get his head out of his behind and play better basketball next year. And if you can get that from those guys, then next year is a bit more promising with the coach who can maximize the offense and do a better job. Really, what's gonna have to happen is they have to play at a faster pace. If you have two defensive liabilities, you got to play at the Pacers and get the ball to net and go, right? Because you don't want offenses to become your defense. You got to wear teams down with your conditioning and with your ability to come at teams in waves with groups of five, with your bench, right, and have some depth and build. And that's the way you're going to be able to hide guys like that, hide guys that can't defend. That's just honest to God truth, right? I don't think TJ McConnell's a great defender. I don't. But I think they do a great job getting up and down the floor. And you don't know he's not a great defender because they get the ball about that net. Whether they score or they rebound, they're gone, right? They're out of there. And so I think it's really important that the Knicks understand that offense is to become their defense. And Tibbs never believed in playing fast. That was never his thing. He wants to play a gritty game and grind the clock. And like, yo, like you don't have that kind of roster, bro. You got two guys on the floor with defensive liabilities. In this era of basketball, you're not gonna win the highest level. You're not gonna win a championship with two guys on the floor who can't defend, who can't slide their feet. You're just not. It's really hard. Maybe back in Jordan's day you could. Back in the 90s, back in the 80s, back in the 70s, you could. The real talk. You could have a guy on the floor who couldn't score a point. You could have two. You could have three Jared Vanderbilts on the court and still win a championship. Not anymore. Not anymore. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. But here's the question I have. Though. Real talk. And I told you I was gonna ask this question. I've been saying this for a long time. Tips to get fired. Every time I say it, Miles, being the politician that he is, he ain't saying nothing. It's like he don't want to chime in. He don't want to. He's very lukewarm about it. Let's let the season end. This and that. We can see the writing on the wall. So I just want to know why you didn't jump on the bandwagon earlier, or did you always know and you were just trying to be on some like political? I don't know. You running for mayor.
I mean, I was never against the Thibs being fired. I know you trying to be funny and all that, but like at the end of the day, like if we're winning games, back-to-back 50-win seasons, when you haven't seen winning in a while, like you usually stick with what you got. But now this is a team that's kind of outgrown him. Like when he first got here, the roster wasn't that great. Like our starting first-round point guard was Elfrid Payton. But now we have Jalen Brunson. We have OG. We got Cat. We got actual good players on this team. And without seeing growth, sure, him being fired was warranted. But when you look at the 5 years, he's built this team into a top contender in the Eastern Conference, top contender in the NBA overall. I mean, they finished in the top 6-7 teams in the NBA this year, and that's with his deficiencies as a coach. So, yeah, love him, hate him, but he'll figure out a way to win games. But sure, he deserved to be fired for some of the things that he's done. And I think this year it was even more loud that he should have been fired because against good teams, we struggled when this roster is good enough to beat all of those teams. So, yeah.
Hey, looking ahead into who replaces Tom Thibodeau to try to help them get over the hump, because that's the next thing right now. We've seen the Knicks can win. We've seen the Knicks now healthy because last season it was health that got them out of the playoffs. And now they actually were healthy. They make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Some coaches out there, and you let me know, Miles or Greg, who I want to start. Who do you think will be the best fit for the Knicks? You got Mike Malone is out there. Mike Brown, Mark Jackson, Budenholzer, Taylor Jenkins, James Borrego, Frank Vogel, Sam Cassell, Royal Ivory, Steve Nash. Do any of those names, and of course Johnny Bryant, which is believed to be one of their main candidates, do any of those names really spark your interest or think would be a great fit? And those are actual people that aren't under contract, as is Kidd and Ime.
I mean, Miles, I'm sure you have thoughts about who you'd like to be the coach of the team. I heard a Jay Wright rumor that I don't like, and I think it'd be funny if it worked out that way. I mean, that would be a ridiculous botch by the Knicks to go get Jay Wright. All right, the college game not the same. Don't tell me Rick Pitino either. We done seen the movie already before. He's already tried to make the jump to the NBA. I think you got to get an offensive-minded coach. You got to get a guy who's just smart offensively. I'm not saying he has no experience defensively, but you've got to get a guy who's able to be creative offensively, who wants to play at a fast pace, who understands the way the game works today offensively, and is going to maximize that team's offensive output. You need to. So, I mean, the names. I don't think Budenholzer would be an awful hire. I really don't. I know he's got some tread on those tires now, and he's gotten passed around a bit. So I understand that now. In the last couple of years, it's been a bumpy road for Budenholzer, but he can coach. He's a championship-winning coach, right? There's that to remember as well. So you got to take that into account. The Johnny Bryant thing is an unknown. So people like him, and I think it's a lot to put on a young black coach coming to coach for the New York Knicks. Things don't go well. They're gonna be throwing nuts at him, and all this, and talking all types of crazy stuff to him. So you gotta be real careful with that as well. I don't think Knicks fans aren't the nicest bunch, so you gotta be careful with a young guy like that. We want to protect that guy. Phoenix would have been nice for him, but Jordan Knox got the job. But yeah, I think again, I just Mike Malone. I don't love it. I don't think he's an offensive revolutionary coach. I think he really benefited off of having Jokic there, right? And so the offense ran through him. So you really don't know what he's about offensively, truly, right? So I think the Knicks have to take their time with this search, be really smart about who they hire, but just know, like, getting a defensive guy, you just had one. You need to have a guy in there who understands that offense is your best defense, a Rick Carlisle type of guy, that frame of thinking, that approach to the game where we're trying to go. We're going to defend, but we're going to slide our feet when we have to, and we're going to be there. We're going to help each other. We're going to do a great job defensively and be connected. But we've got to get the ball from the net and go to put teams on their heels as much as possible and wear them down, especially with Cat out there and Jalen Brunson out there. Got to protect them. Best way to do that is with good offense. So I don't think Budenholzer would be a bad hire. I think it's sneaky. I think it's a sneaky one. I wouldn't be mad at them at all if they went that direction. But I know everybody else. I know some Knicks fans will be pretty pissed off. So we'll have to wait and see now, won't we?
Yeah, I think they're going to take their time with it. I'm kind of glad that Phoenix went with Ott instead of Johnny Bryant. I think he's one of those up-and-coming names that is right in line with getting a head coaching job. But it could be tough seeing him getting a job with the Knicks currently. Maybe if this was 4 or 5 years ago, but this is a team that's basically – this is a championship team now. Like, I'm not pushing all my eggs in that basket just yet. Maybe we'll see what happens in a few weeks, whether they hire him or not. And I know they're floating the kid, Ime. I mean, Rockets already knocked and said they're not entertaining that. And I'm sure the Mavericks won't either. So, but even if they go defensive head coach again, they got to have the assistant head coach be offensive minded. Because last year when we had Johnny Bryant, the offense was a lot better. Granted, we had different players on this team, but things were running a lot smoother than they were this year. And then you look, he makes the jump to Cleveland to be the assistant head coach for Kenny Atkinson, and they win 60-plus games. So I think, yeah, getting that offensive-minded head coach is something that would be a change for this team. I mean, I don't think it'll be like Mike D'Antoni, but having that assistant head coach with, different principles than the head coach could help too. So Budenholzer wouldn't be a bad hire. I know a lot of Knicks fans wouldn't be happy. They're looking for the flashier name, but guys like Spo and Jason Kidd, those guys don't get free. So unless you're willing to trade draft capital, and most of those teams would say no anyways, you're going to have to figure out a more creative way to get a head coach.
They should really look into the up-and-coming assistant coaches. The Nets found their gem in Jordi Fernandez. There's guys out there that are waiting for an opportunity that could come in here. I'm just being, I'm being honest, man. Like the best thing the Nets got going is Jordi Fernandez right now. It's a tough time, but he's a great coach. He can do it.
Sam Cassell.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about all that, but
I'm just saying that's an assistant coach that's been looking for a job for a minute.
On the fact that he's hard to look at.
I honestly don't even think he's that serious about getting a head coaching job. But
if Sam Cassell starts off bad as a New York Knicks coach, they're gonna be calling him ugly and all types of shit.
You heard even Meta World Peace put his name in there, trying to be a coach.
Got the ayahuasca. I think he was a little, off something when he was tweeting all that.
Like, that's why we don't want your ugly ass here anyway. Hey, they should go get an up-and-coming assistant coach, man. Go find one of these. Find your Jordan Ott. I like Jordan Ott a lot, by the way. I do. He was here with the Nets for a long time under Kenny Atkinson. Offensive-minded guy, smart guy. I think he'll do a good job. Johnny Bryant, if they hired him, that'd be a good hire too. I just don't know what he's about. He assisted Thibs for a long time. I don't know what his philosophy on the game is. So that's my concern. Who he assisted, who are you learning from? You learned some great defensive stuff from Thibs. I'll give you that. What about the offensive side? If you learn that stuff from Thibs, stay your ass as an assistant. Let's go find somebody else because they need to really do a good job of playing at a faster pace. So I think they got to make sure they prioritize that in the search. Maybe a European guy, although that hasn't been too successful in the NBA, as we all know. But maybe you consider it as well. And Taylor Jenkins wouldn't be a bad hire either. I'm still a little perplexed about the way he got fired or why he got fired. I know him and Ja weren't getting along because Ja came in guns blazing. But
the YNs didn't.
Yeah, clearly
out there.
He told them to stop wearing ski masks to the facility, and that was all she wrote. So I mean, Taylor Jenkins would be a solid hire too. I just I think from what I saw from him in the Grizzlies, he's a fine coach. He can definitely coach at a high level. So that would not be a bad hire either.
For him to be able to get that many wins and to figure it out with that Memphis team when you had at one point a Dylan Brooks and you had Jaren Jackson Jr. who refuses to rebound, I think he got some coaching capabilities.
They played fast though, right?
Yes,
Those
sir.
teams played fast. They got threes up. They played quick. I think you might want to emulate that if you're the Knicks and go ahead. And Jaren Jackson Jr. might as well be Cat. Like it's not that dissimilar in terms of the way they approach
play style. Yeah, play style definitely.
The game similar. Like I ain't saying Cat's
he rebounds way better. Yeah,
relax. I ain't saying that. But the Pussycat Dolls gonna get on. They're gonna get on me. But I think there's a place for a guy like him, and you can see the similarities in the roster he worked with. I don't know who your Desmond Bain is, but you can figure that stuff out later. Sure as heck ain't Josh Hart. I'll tell you that.
Hey, so bring it up, Cat. Two-part with that. Do you feel that Cat got too much criticism with how the Pacers series ended up? And Miles, definitely, please answer this because we talked about it. And again, I'm going to keep bringing it up so y'all go run it up. In episode 396, Miles did not want to have a conversation yet on roster construction because the season was still going on. Now that it's over, what changes would you like to see with the roster? Is it ancillary pieces? Do you consider trying to move Mikal? Like, what's your thoughts on that? And did Cat get too much criticism for this series?
I mean, it was always going to be a tough series for him to begin with defensively. Like offensively, he was supposed to do what he was doing at points, dominating Miles Turner, dominating whoever's in front of him. But defensively, the Pacers move the ball and they move quickly. And those are two things that he doesn't do well. He's not good in space on defense. And it always looks like there's communication issues when it comes to, am I getting over the screen? Am I dropping? Am I doing this? So they took advantage of his weaknesses. And granted, sure, he might have been a little banged up. He had a couple procedures this week on his knee, finger, whatever. But, I mean, as one of the top guys, you're going to get criticism. It's not like you can hide from that. Like you're making $50+ million a year. This is something that comes with the territory. It's New York, so you're going to get more criticism if you're not winning, and we didn't win the series. So, but as far as roster configuration, I think they should just honestly run it back with this team because I don't think this team was a bad team. This is not a bad roster. If you have better coaching, you have actual offensive sets because some of the you can look back at some of the playoff moments and there's more than one guy cutting in the same spot, more than one guy standing in the. It was all messed up, and that's because Thibs is not really calling plays. He's not. It's basically, hooping in the backyard with the Knicks offense, and you can't do that in the modern day. So I think if you run it back, you've got the continuity. Some of these guys will benefit from another year playing together. And Mikal, I mean, there's nothing you can do about the picks now. No point in beating a dead horse. But what they can't do is just because he's up for an extension, you don't just pay him just because. Like I would rather them play out the season next year And if he's a good fit, I'm sure he'll take whatever money's there. But whether it's a pay cut or what, the 456, if that's available after next season, but giving him that extension this offseason, I don't think it would be smart. I don't think it's smart at all. I think you could definitely use him in a trade if you want to go that route. Maybe even a different route of the new coach likes him as a secondary playmaker. So that could be something. You saw a little more in the playoffs this year than you saw in the regular season, which I think hurt his stock a little bit, is that they were using him as basically just stand on the wing, hit an open shot 3 minutes after you've touched the ball. Like, there's too much going on in that offense. And then they got to bring in some defensive players, some guards, some secondary, because Brunson's the only one who can really get his own shot. He's the only one who can do something on offense. There's a lot of standing around. So as far as the offseason, maybe you make a trade or two, trade some second round picks, but I think they should run it back. This team's good enough to make the finals.
The cat thing is that's been bothering me, actually, funny enough. How does Cat get most of the blame when they won a game down the stretch because of him? Like, they won one of the 2 games they won in this series, and they should have won 3, and they blew it, right? But they won one of those 2 games on the one on the road specifically. I think it was game 5 or whatever it may have been, where he goes crazy for 20 points down the stretch of the game, and they win the basketball game. I don't understand the Cat slander. I think the piece they put out and the timing of when they put the piece out, obviously it was really about the full season experience as opposed to the postseason, that they were frustrated with him and his ability to understand defensive coverages. But everyone knows that's Cat's biggest problem, and that's the reason why Cat is in New York right now, right? The biggest reason why they thought he was expendable is because of the fact that he doesn't defend. And that's why they went and got Rudy Gobert to hide him. I think everybody kind of understands what you get, what the Cat experience is. And he's playing for a coach that clearly understands his flaws because he had him already. He coached him already. So I don't, all this stuff about Cat and his defense, I don't really want to hear it, right? You knew what you were trading for. And to me, you got better. You traded Julius Randle, you got better. I don't care. Anytime you can trade Julius Randle, you did pretty well in any deal. But again, for me, the biggest thing with this whole thing is like, okay, like, it's misplaced. It's misplaced criticism. If you're going to criticize somebody, criticize Mikal Bridges. Criticize the guy you traded 5 first-round picks for. Where's the frustration about that? Knicks fans as a whole, I don't understand the kind of like tempered reaction around their frustration with Mikal Bridges. If they're mad at him, I sure as hell can't tell. I can't tell. I don't know, because you can't get a read on them with that. It seems like they want to be patient maybe about it or something. But you traded 5 first-round picks for him in the same summer that Giannis is about to spring loose and become available. Like, the timeline coincides. One thing happened before the other thing, right? Like, you traded the picks, then Giannis said Giannis is basically about to tell everybody he wants to make a move, and the Bucks are gearing up to make a trade. And that's the time you make this trade for Mikal Bridges, and you get to the conference finals. It's the greatest opportunity the Knicks have ever had in franchise history to get to the NBA finals. The best it'll be, right? And you don't get there. And a large part of the reason why you don't get there is because Mikal Bridges, not only was he not making shots, he wasn't defending. He wasn't fighting over screens. They couldn't keep him on. They couldn't keep him on the primary best offensive ball handler on the other team, right? And sometimes when he was on that guy, he was still getting scored on. Unacceptable. He didn't live up to his billing at all. You didn't get what you paid for, right? So I think that's extremely frustrating. And for me, watching it from a distance, right, not being a Knicks fan, it's extremely frustrating that he just laid an egg. That he laid an egg in the biggest moments and laid an egg all year round. And I'm tired of the Thibs blame. I don't want to hear that. Yes, Thibs offense sucks. Cool, we know that. We understand that. And I think Mikal took the low route a million times this season, where he would talk about Thibs and what Thibs is doing with the halftime. Oh, it's our halftime routine. I don't even know what the context was. Fine, but like, just talking about coaching and talking about things outside of his own play. Yo, worry about what you can control. You weren't playing well. That's on you. That's the bottom line. You went out there and laid an egg, and you got to take the blame for that. You know what Josh Hart did after the season was over? He said, "Yo, I sucked. Like that I was awful. I cost our team." That's respectable. It's commendable because you weren't good. You were shooting up bricks. You damn near built a school in Africa with all the shots you missed throughout the course of the playoffs. But you owned it. But you owned it though. That's important. That's important, right? I don't know if Mikal said something similar. I didn't see any quotes from his postseason presser, but it's just been frustrating. It really has been frustrating with the Mikal experience in New York, and I'm not really hearing a whole lot of frustration about that. All the cat talk, he's an easy target. Y'all think he's zesty, all this stuff, so it's easy to go and pick on him. That guy played great for you guys in big spots. He doesn't deserve all that blame he's getting right now. I truly don't believe it. He showed up when it mattered the most. Give him credit. Give him credit. I think he deserves some.
Shout out to Mitchell Robinson too. He owned it too. Like you said, I didn't see anything from Mikal, but Mitchell Robinson came out and said, "Hey, this one's going to sting a lot. I could have made more free throws. I could have played better defense. I could have made more shots."
Mm-hmm.
As a fan of a team, I'm not a Knicks fan, but as a fan of a team and just a fan of basketball, when players do take accountability and own it, it's kind of like having kids. Like, they say they sorry and they own it. And I know, Miles, you could test to it. It's like, all right, we can move forward. I don't like what you did, but we can move forward. Mitch did that, which I could appreciate. Brunson, love Thibs, but hey, we could have been better as a team. That I appreciate. Like you said, maybe I could go watch back. I'm not gonna say he did, but in the entirety of the season, I didn't really hear anything from Mikal really on his play and what he could do better.
He flew under the radar all year. He flew under the radar. I feel like Knicks fans really easy on him. He got a pass in year one. I don't know, again, if it's because they think it's early. Like, I feel like he got a pass. I feel like I didn't really get a lot of the criticism. I didn't hear it. Some people say that. I know at the end of the year, people are saying, "Oh, the Nets won the trade," but that's coming from the Nets side of things. I'm not hearing that on the other side of things. I'm not hearing people really come down hard on Mikal Bridges. And for everything, you traded 5 first rounders for a guy who's never been an all-star. 5. It's crazy. It's utterly insane. It is. And that's why I said earlier, to my point, to make it full circle about Jalen Brunson, when you take less money, it doesn't guarantee you anything. You're doing a nice thing. That's awesome. But you're trusting guys to make decisions that aren't perfect. That they're going to make mistakes along the way, and they made one with Mikal Bridges. Now, he can turn this thing around next year and be great. And usually when guys are about to get paid, they start playing. They figure they're Michael Jordan. They figure it out. They figure it because it's just magical. He's going to start making shots again. The hitch is going to be gone from his jump shot magically because money's in the line, right? We'll see. But until then, in all summer, that's what you're going to be hearing about. That's what Mikal's going to be hearing about, and rightfully so. He earned it. I'm here to hold him accountable. That's all I'm saying. They're not going to do it. I'm going to do it. Mikal, you sucked.
Facts, and I do agree with you, Miles. I think some different guard play is definitely needed on the roster. Some guard that can create their own, especially in that second unit. Josh Hart is not. If you have him on the bench, that's not the person that you want trying to create offense, trying to get shots. He plays a role of a hustler. I'm gonna get rebounds. I'm gonna do a little bit of everything, and I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna do all of that. But putting playmaking responsibilities in Josh Hart's hands was another mistake that was a part of what you had with Thibs, and could have been a situation. Maybe you should have played campaign more in the regular season. Maybe you should have played more of DeLon Wright in the regular season. We saw when Kolek was out there. Kolek looked pretty good. Why'd you draft him to not even really play him or put him on a G League team? Kind of a weird thing. Looking at the finals now, right? We're going to start off with this one. Who has the most to gain in this NBA Finals?
I feel like if Tyrese was able to find a way to knock off OKC, I mean, this would be one of the greatest runs we've seen in NBA history as far as some of the teams they've beaten. Like, you go down the list, you knock off the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Then you knock off what's now become a rivalry with the Knicks in a tough fought series. And then you face the best team in the NBA, they've been that way the whole season. Like this team, top to bottom, there's really no weaknesses. So if you're able to figure out a way around like Shea, Jalen Williams, Chet, if you're able to beat those guys, then I mean Tyrese, this ring is worth a lot. And for a team that, I mean, coming into the season, we weren't expecting much from the Pacers. We kind of slept on them in the Eastern Conference, and I mean, coming off a conference finals, even though they got swept pretty much, I didn't expect them to get out of the second round, and here they are in the finals. I would say a lot from Rick Carlisle, who, I mean, his other championship was with Dirk beating Miami Heat, which is another championship that was incredible. That's another similar to this one. You're just knocking off Goliath after Goliath. So if Tyrese is able to get this done, he's a legend in Indiana, and I mean, then you have to start having. Maybe is he in that superstar category? Do we even mention it? Like, if he has a ring, which I mean, that's what we're looking for right now, and if he can do it in Indiana, I mean, you got to say that he's a superstar point guard in the NBA.
Question. The Ringer put out a ranking, and they had him, I believe, seventh, above Jalen Brunson. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Do you agree with? Do you agree with that list or that reactionary?
That's not what's wrong with that list, though. But the Jalen Brunson, that's irrelevant.
We know. I'm just sticking on the Tyrese part. I know exactly what you're going
to. I hate
I didn't know I didn't think he'd be in the top 10 as far as I thought that was like playoffs. So I was like, all right, I mean, but that's overall. Like that's of all the players in the NBA. It's a tough list.
Was Luka on the list?
The Ringer, who?
Was Luka on the list?
Yeah, he was like top 4, I think, behind Giannis.
Okay. I mean, okay. I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll start with the idea of like what the championship would do for Tyrese. Nothing. I think it'd be great. I think they winning it would be awesome. I think he's a star. I don't know what he does for it depends on what his performance is in the pool. They could win a ring and Pascal Siakam could lose his mind and just play out of his. That's the kind of team they have. It's not like they don't rely on him to score in that way, right? But again, if he's going out there putting up triple doubles every night and they're winning because of him and he's having that kind of impact, okay, we can have a conversation. Maybe he's borderline. Maybe he is a superstar. Maybe we can talk about it. Okay, we can open that up. But I I said, I just don't think that team plays that way, and I think they rely on him because he's the head of the snake. He is. He's extremely important to what they do, 1,000%. But to sit there and say he's a superstar because they won this championship, again, man, I just. You got to talk about the road it took to get there. It matters. Why did it matter for everybody else, but it doesn't matter for him, right? Like I'm equal opportunity. That's all I'm saying, man. I didn't seen how y'all talked about Bron. I didn't seen how y'all talked about everybody else. Paul George. You kill him. You kill all the other guys in the NBA, right? Carmelo Anthony, right? Who some people would argue wasn't a superstar, by the way. Some people would argue that he wasn't. So if I'm teetering about Carmelo Anthony, I can certainly teeter about Tyrese Halliburton justifiably, all right, about his status, whether or not he's a superstar or not. So I don't know that a ring does that for him. I think they're facing a formidable opponent, obviously a great defensive team. They can still win this series. Obviously, the OKC's not unbeatable. They're certainly not. If you live in transition, you have a chance, and if you make a lot of threes, which they take, you could win. And on any given night. So the Pacers have a legitimate chance to win this series as long as they're rebounding the basketball at a nice clip, out rebounding OKC, which is going to be tough with Isaiah Hartenstein out there. But if you can do that, you have a legitimate chance to win the series because you're going to be able to get up the floor quick and get good looks at the rim. And that's all you can ask for if you're the Pacers. And that's what they're going to be looking to do and exploit. But Yeah, man, I just don't see it. I don't think that Tyrese is a superstar right now. I think that for me, I would need to see Tyrese have like an against all odds type of playoff situation or series where they're undermanned and they go out there and they make it a series. Like Jokic is grossly undermanned against OKC this year, and they won 7 games. That is a testament to how great Nikola Jokic is. He is a superstar against that defense to go 7 games with Aaron Gordon on one leg in game 7 and still have it be a game. And beyond that, right, just to have no shooter, to have Russell Westbrook playing legitimate minutes for them all year long, for them to have won all those games, and for them to have been in that series. I know, but it's true, right? For them to have been handicapped now by playing that man all those minutes, and for them to have still made it a 7-game series because that's how great he is. That is a superstar. It's about having a squeezed lemon and still getting lemonade out of that thing, still getting lemon out of a little juice out of that thing. They get the most out of what they have available. They get the most out of what's on the roster, no matter what's on the roster. Tyrese is not in that conversation, respectfully. He's just not. I know Uncut Remy, I know Zach might think I'm bugging. He might think I'm wrong. I'm not. He's not a superstar. He's not a superstar. He's a elite player. He's a star, all-star. Great. He is not a superstar player because he's not going to maximize this a roster that's small or a roster that's depleted. And also, let's talk about it this way too. Let's remember at this point, Tyrese had plenty of games where he has like 5 points. He had like 13 games this year where he had like single-digit points. It's like a crazy stat that if he misses the first shot of the game, it's insane. Like his stats drop like crazy. He's more than likely going to have less than 10 points because he just isn't in attack mode anymore. It's right. Like that's what we're talking about. It's still that guy. They had a very nice run as a team to get here, and they got some luck. They had some luck. Big bad Boston wasn't in the way. The Bucks were shelled themselves. They crapped the bed and they quit on Doc. Right? Like the Cavs. Everyone got the swine flu, and then no one played. So you got some luck along the way, man. And sometimes that's what it takes in this league. It takes that sometimes. It's hard to win a championship. Give him credit. Give him credit. But it's not about just about the style of play. It's about the context of how he got here. That's all I'm saying. And even if they win this series, I just can't give him that nod. I didn't see too much. I didn't see superstars in real life. I know what that look. I saw Lucas play our fun last year as a superstar. I saw Bron back in 07. I saw Bron back in 04. I've seen Kobe Bryant drag teams. I've seen it. So you're not going to tell me that Tyrese is in that breath because he's not. He's not. And I don't care what anyone says.
So for those that did not see the ringer list, I'm gonna list the top 10 that they had of the NBA players. And if y'all happen to want to have something to say about it, y'all could say about it because I wasn't on the docket, but I think it is worth mentioning. Number 1, he had Nikola Jokic. SGA was 2nd. Giannis, Luka, Steph, Ant-Man, Tyrese at 7, Donovan Mitchell at 8, Jalen Brunson at 9, Jason Tatum at 10.
Okay. First of all, and I heard Nick right make this point, and he's absolutely right. Steph Curry was not better than LeBron James this past season. Like, indebatably, it's not even a debate. I don't care how big of a Steph Curry fan you were or you are. He wasn't better than LeBron James. Steph Curry struggled for most of this year. He was in a deep depression. He was injured because his team had no chance to kick anywhere. His second best player at one point in the roster was Andrew Wiggins, and they traded him away. And Podminsky. It was a really desolate, sad situation in Golden State. Sad. Kuminga, with his messed up hairline, was out there running around with him, and it was just depressing for that guy. And he did not play well. He really didn't. So to sit here and have him ranked, what was it, number 5 or 6 on this list, and have LeBron nowhere to be found in the top 10, it's ridiculous. LeBron's still a top 10 player in the NBA, guys. He is, and it's really not a debate. It's not. The way he played in regular season, he carried that Lakers team for a lot of the season. When Anthony Davis went down, when they were going through their transition, when Luka was getting used to playing in LA and wasn't Luka yet, they were still winning games. That was because of LeBron, guys. LeBron and AR were playing at a high level. Bron is still an elite player who still can tap into superstardom level play, right? As long as he's healthy. That's the bottom line. So to sit here and not have him top 10 is ridiculous. So any list where LeBron is not top 10 right now, I don't respect it. And I don't respect who wrote it. And I don't respect the publication that it came from. Period. I think Bill Simmons did a pyramid and LeBron wasn't on it too. It's absurd. And I think he had Anthony Davis above LeBron. Like, what a joke. So I don't want to make it all about him. The list is full of like inconsistencies. To have Tyrese Halliburton that high, like Tyrese Halliburton is objectively not a better basketball player than Jason Tatum. He's not. He's not a better basketball player than Jason Tatum right now. He point blank period. I don't care that Jason Tatum is popped his Achilles. He's not a better basketball player than him. When Jason Tatum's healthy, you'd rather have Jason Tatum start your team with than Tyrese Halliburton. Period. If you want to argue the Jalen Brunson stuff, that's fine. I still think I'd take Jalen Brunson. But I understand if you want to, there's an argument to be had there. That's fine. I can respect that. But it's ridiculous. Like, this whole thing is ridiculous. That this idea that like Tyrese has like launched himself into the top 7 category. Nah, he's a top 12, 13 player in the league though. That's where he's at right now. He's not better than Ant. No, he's not. He's not better than a lot of these guys I see on the list here, period. I'm not sure he's better than Donovan Mitchell either. I'm not sure. I'm not going to like definitively say that either. So, people can sue me in the comments and say all this crazy stuff, but like, I think it's pretty straightforward and obvious there, man. And these lists are ridiculous. Any list that don't have LeBron in the top 10 is not what a list we're talking about. That's the honest to God truth.
Miles, Greg, what's your prediction for the finals?
4-1. OKC.
Woo! Yeah, damn. Hell had no scoring like Miles Fury.
I mean, I just think that OKC has so many different lineups that they can throw at them. Like, I mean, Alex Caruso can guard 1 through 5 in the playoffs. I mean, if he's able to guard Jokic and give him issues where, I mean, he clearly wasn't himself towards the end of that series. Miles Turner doesn't stand a chance. I could see them putting him on Pascal and going about it that way. I mean, there's so many. They could go 5 out with Chet. I mean, because Miles Turner, he's not really a guy that bangs down there. So there's a lot of lineups that OKC can use. I just think they're the better team by miles. Like, you got the best player this year in SGA. You got Jalen Williams, one of the best two-way players in the NBA right now. And then Chet, I think he hasn't been healthy for most of the year, but you saw it in the last series. He's starting to get healthier, and he looks good. So, yeah, 4-1. This could be a sweep, but I'm going to give the Pacers the benefit of the doubt that they could win a game in Indiana.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that uncompetitive. I think this is actually a pretty decent matchup from a basketball standpoint. I never complained about it from a basketball standpoint. I only complained about it from the standpoint of like the household names and the draw and the, what the NBA has been built on this drama and built on storylines and built on narratives. This series doesn't help the NBA from that standpoint. So you're going to lose a lot of the casual viewers that would normally tap in and watch Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, right? Those big time names. That being said, that aside, I think it'll be a competitive series. I think the Pacers can win the series. I think there is a path to that happening. I think the OKC can be inconsistent and they can be immature at times. I don't think that they're like this perfect basketball team. I think they're a phenomenal defensive basketball team. I think that's ultimately why they're going to win the series. I am going to pick them, but I think this series could go 7. I really do. I think this could be a back and forth affair. I really do believe that. I think the Pacers deserve some respect for the fact that they really do make teams pay for their mistakes. And OKC makes enough mistakes where the Pacers can jump them. They can. Like, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to have lulls. They're going to have games where they try to take 53s and they don't make. They miss 20 of them. They miss. Well, that'd be a great game. They miss 35 of them. Like, right. So you have to. You have to look at it that way too, right? You have to take that into consideration as well. But yeah, I think there's gonna be games where the Pacers get out and transition a whole bunch too, right? I think they're a respectable foe. for OKC. I don't think this is some kind of scrub they're playing against. They're deep. They can attack you in waves. Thomas Bryant literally unpacked his bags from Jamaica and then came out and made 5 or 6 threes in the last game. So you don't know where it's going to come from. They have a lot of ways they can attack you. They're a deep roster. They deserve some respect for the fact of for that fact, and for Carlisle being a phenomenal coach. I think this series is going to go 7. I think the OKC will win. I think OKC's got the best player in the series, and I don't think it's particularly close. I think Shai's a far better basketball player than Tyrese Halliburton right now. Right now. I know what I said in the past. There's clips. I know what I said. I'm talking about right now.
Speaking of SGA, we talked about last episode, Tyrese Halliburton. Is SGA a superstar?
This is a great question
because of my criteria. But you see, like
Greg Merriam-Webster. What's the definition?
I tell you what the definition is. You don't. Here's gonna sound. You see, I'm gonna just put my foot in my mouth. You don't have to have carried a team that is depleted to be a superstar. Sometimes you just know. Sometimes the guy's just that good, and there's no defense that really ever stops Shai, right? And he can affect the game. He can ruin the game for other teams just with his scoring or his court gravity, right? Because he's such a great scorer. Best mid-range shooter in the NBA, right? He's the best in the NBA at that particular offensive skill, and also good at the rim. So yes, like he is the I think he is a superstar in the NBA. Anytime you win an MVP, it vaults you into that category, regardless of what's around you, regardless of what you benefit from on your team. Winning an MVP vaults you into superstardom. I would say the same thing about Jason Tatum, to be fair, right? And people, it's well documented how I feel about Jason Tatum. So yeah, I think that Shai is a superstar because he's winning the MVP is a big deal, and then on top of that, I think just his offensive impact night to night, it's not replicated by many in NBA history, right? He had that kind of year offensively. And it's not like he's like surrounded by like these great players, just a bunch of elite role players around him. And then J-Dub, who's like teetering on all-star status. So yeah, I think you've got to give him the credit there and consider him a superstar. I don't think it's really a debatable thing.
Going full circle, when we mentioned past episodes and things that have been said, one of our highest viewed reels on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, on every social media platform. If we posted it on LinkedIn, probably would have done well too. Snapchat probably would have done well too. Greg mentioned that Saquon's season wasn't the greatest running back season of all time. He is on the cover of Madden, just running down the stats that he had last year: 345 attempts with 2,005 yards, 13 TDs, 2,283 yards from scrimmage, top 3 in MVP vote. Some say he should have won MVP. Do you think Saquon can replicate the season he had last year this season?
No. Just because these seasons are, we talked about it the way we did because these seasons don't happen that often. Like, guys aren't able to rush for 2,000 yards every season. Like, sure, Derrick Henry came close last year. Derrick Henry's one of the outliers when it comes to longevity at the position. But like Saquon, he's dealt with injuries in his past. Who's to say that he's going to stay healthy after his – I mean, it was the most carries he's had in the season to date. So there's always regression when it comes to that many touches. I mean, we saw it with McCaffrey last year. He dealt with a lot of soft tissue injuries that came up throughout the season. But I don't think they might try to scale him back a little bit. That's why you draft guys like Will Shipley to come in at some point, and why you draft the way you do. You're not trying to win rushing titles and all that stuff. You're trying to win championships. So I think you could see him scale back, and he's not going to rush for 2,000 yards again, maybe 1,500, which is still elite, but I don't think they need him to carry that load again. because you want him fresh and rearing to go once it's playoff time. And this team they should be one of the favorites. I mean, they've returned basically most of their key players on this roster. So, sure, if he wants to try to get that record again, which he could have gotten if he played that last game, sure, maybe there's a chance. But I think it's more likely that he falls short of this than beats that 2,000-yard season.
Yeah, I think to assume they get it would be tough, right? Because any year as a running back, you could get hurt on any given play. It's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that this year goes as well as last year did for the Eagles, right? It's not, even with all that talent. It's not. The NFL is a weird league like that. It's so physical, and it can happen. So just off that alone, but he is running behind the greatest offensive line I've ever seen. So he sure got the holes, and he's got the daylight, and he's getting to the second level on it. He gets 3 steps. He's at the second level already. You let a guy like him get to the second level, you're going to do some things like hurdle over a guy backwards and end up on a cover of Madden, right? I mean, we always knew this kid that's under these circumstances, he could thrive. He would thrive. So no one was surprised. So if he stays healthy, sure, he can do it again. He's got to stay healthy though, and everybody and the O-line got to stay healthy though, right? It's a team sport. So I'm not assuming that's going to happen again. No, definitely not.
I think he'll still have a very productive season. You could see like Miles had 1,500 yards, but you don't draft Will Shipley and you don't bring in A.J. Dillon to that roster if you don't have in mind that he's not going to be getting 345 attempts. No, there's no way. And I'm pretty sure from what I've heard out of Eagles camp, they're going to be trying to actually pass the rock more this year and get back to that, put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands more often this season.
That should be great. That should go great for them.
So,
I'm sorry. I take that back. It's going to go great. It's going to be great for them. I have nothing bad to say about Jalen Hurts. I mean that. You got to hold me to that. I'm sorry.
I was like, damn, he's a liar, huh?
I'm sorry, Jalen. I'm sorry. It was a force of habit. I'm sorry. Nah, you don't deserve my slander. It's a good man. It's a good man.
Wow. If Jalen Hurts has a productive season, we can account it to him staying ready, so he ain't got to get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.